Insta? What's going on? Uh, there it is. Must be super delayed today. Anyhow, welcome all y'all, to the 58th episode of the Swift and SwiftUI Learnalong. Let me go through the normal rigmarole. Office is coming together nicely. Me and the lady went and got some tools, got my splitter. So now I'm not suffering with audio. Got voice monitoring. Hopefully, I think these are working out the Hollyland, so glad to get away from, what is this? Glad to get away from the condenser mic all up in my beard. What, brother? Oh, it's Swift. Duh. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Okay, so for the uninitiated, let me just show you this very quickly. So this is just to get the lay of the land of what you're getting here and what we've already done. So you see this YouTube channel here, Eco Narration. This is where you can go if you want to watch the previously recorded streams. So we've already stepped through a big fat book on Swift just as a general purpose language. And that was something like almost 50 episodes, like 150 hours of stream content. So that's just purely stepping through. I mean, literally, I read the book to you and do the, the code projects or whatever the hell you want to call it. But so we do all the samples. So everything was on stream from start to finish. So you can get caught up there. And I say that because now we've already moved into SwiftUI, which is massively simpler if you already know Swift. Actually, I don't think I guess you can understand it from a conceptual perspective, even if you didn't know Swift, but from a pragmatic perspective, it wouldn't make much sense to also learn from Swift. So anyway, you can go there, you can get caught up. Right now we are in the midst of this book, learning SwiftUI. It's a great book from Mountain Studios, no affiliation. But after we do this, we'll do some API design and some SQL schema design. So you get to see what that looks like. And then ultimately the goal here is for my startup to build MRP Panda to be my application. And we can talk more about, I've talked plenty about who the target customer is and all that. So at some point along the way, if you get caught up on the streams, you'll hear it. So I won't bother you with that. But well, actually, that's it. Yeah, I mean, for now, that's all that's planned in terms of this Swift stream. But it's going to be obviously long running because after we get done learning, then we'll actually just keep building out the app. And then if I ever hit a stalling point in the build process, I guess you could say, I do want to pepper in a C stream, but still under the umbrella of Swift, because we'll learn C, but also we'll mostly learn how can we, how would you say, how can we leverage existing C libraries using Swift? Kind of like how Python does, like literally everything. They just use C and C++ libraries. So yeah, I don't want to call it a separate stream because it's still going to be Swift centric. So I want to make sure that as part of all this, I just keep Swift as the main tool, like always as a Swift first thing. And really that's more, not because I'm a zealot or anything, just because I think it's worthwhile to just learn one technology really, really, really well instead of, bouncing around, even though I'm often tempted to do that. All right, but that's the general last time where we left off. We went through, man, the sun is doing me in right now. I look like a, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so we went through and built a little mini sample of every aspect of Swift data. So let me go back here and punch in here. There you go. Yeah, so we just went through and did one example of each of these steps that represents the flow in Swift data, which is itself a framework. So model, that was our types. In this case, type person. The model container, which is like the framework that gives us tools to read models, write to disk, and load data into memory. And then the context, which is whatever's in memory. And then the view itself, which end user would use to interact with the context, which then interacts with the container, and so on and so forth. So we did a whole example, or did a whole, did a whole A to Z example on each of those elements last episode. And so now we're going to expand on each of those concepts. Okay, so now, mock data. Why you are building with mock data. But how can you add mock data to Swift data without it persisting? What if you want to test deleting data? You don't want to keep having to add the same data over and over again just to delete it. In this chapter, I'll show you how to set up mock data so you can see it in your SwiftUI preview. Okay, cool. Chapter quick links. Okay, we won't spoil the surprise. Okay, model. For this chapter, we're going to use a simple data model with two properties. It is in a file called friendmodel.swift in the companion project. In the companion project, I will be adding model to all of my model names from this point on as a convention for this book. Anything you want, and decide how to best organize them. Okay. I wonder if this is the same. Might be a separate directory. Hold on, let me find that. It goes one level up from here. God, I hate the Mac fucking. Screenshots. One I created. Okay, it must be this. So mock data. Yes, that's it. Okay. Well, I mean, there's friends model, so yeah, we'll see. For this chapter, we're going to use a simple data model with two properties. It is in a file called friendmodel.swift. I guess I could just search for that too. Whoops. Well, I'm sorry. I just don't remember them telling us about it. I thought everything was... Maybe it's at the bottom. It had to have been the right spot. Let me just look there one more time. If not, we'll just roll with it, but... Okay, good. So this is, all right. Friend model. I didn't know what file to open it to. Freaky. All right, well, data spying helped us out in this case. So see, it's not all bad. That's why I say take my data, brother. All right, so then where for mock data? Here. Now we're there. Okay, so we see, here's the model. Okay, can rename your model, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah. All right, SwiftUI preview, 2 problems. Here's a typical view with a list. Where's that at? Oh, here. With the list. Okay. List friends for friend in horizontal stack. Give me these 2 text rendered views. So you should show first name, last name for whatever profile or whatever. And make it a big header font, the title. Okay. And then in the preview, data intro, so it creates an instance and a container for that model. Okay, there are 2 problems. There is no data to show, so as you are creating the UI, you will not have any immediate feedback as to what it looks like. If you programmatically add data to the view, say in and on appear, oh, I guess that's a keyword or something, or an operator, on a peer or task modifier. It will repeatedly get added every time your preview is redrawn. So the data just keeps growing and growing. Okay. There is an easy way to handle both of these problems at the same time by creating your own custom model container object. You can set up a custom model container to add mock data for your preview and to make sure that it persists. Okay. Custom model container. Up to this point, you were creating model containers using a modifier and passing in your model definition. You're creating using a modifier and passing in your model definition. Oh, right, this is a modifier. Okay, and then here's our definition. Gotcha. Swift Data created everything needed using default settings. Swift Data provides another model container modifier that allows you to add a custom model container with your settings. Okay, .preview. Is that all that changed? No parameter, just okay. Your settings. You will learn how to create a custom model container, set it up to not persist data for your previews and for testing. Use it to add mock data so your previews can show data, and finally add it to your preview using this second model container modifier. You're going to learn how to create this static preview property so it returns your custom model container and has mock data created to display in your preview. Okay, I guess I'm a little confused just because it's a little, or it seems out of order because we already know what the preview is from the book that we did on Big Nerd Ranch, so it's kind of throwing me off, but because this whole time I was thinking, why wouldn't we just use the preview, like the method that they showed us in Big Nerd Ranch? But I guess they're just now working up to it. So they've showed us they showed us the other side, how to do development work with persistent data. So that's what we did last episode. And now they're saying there's a way to do one or the other without adding to the persistent data every time. And now we'll see how to work in that alternate method. So I think I follow now. Is that what we just... Yeah, okay. Create a new model container by passing in the model definition you want included. This will almost always be the same as the model it is extending. And to a model configuration. Okay, so that's what we didn't see previously. Okay. Extension on the friend model. It's a type property with the static keyword preview. Type model container. And then this little closure here, constant called container equals try, so it throws model container for, and then there's our model, and then our new parameter configurations, model configuration with this is stored in memory only set to true. Oh, well, that makes sense. Okay. Meaning it wouldn't persist or wouldn't be saved to disk. And then whatever logic we want here, like last time we just wrote a bunch of, just manually wrote arrays for our data. And then we have to return something. We return the container, which is all this jazz. Okay, that makes sense. The only setting you are really interested in for previews is stored in memory only. Okay, this means that the mock data you add will not be persisted. It will exist in memory only. Note, you may have noticed you need to try, as in try the keyword there. You need try to create a model container because it can fail and throw an error. I use the exclamation point because if it does not fail, we want, capital, my preview to crash so I can fix it. I see. So you don't want to handle it gracefully. If something's breaking, you want to know about it. So we just force the unwrap. Okay. But you may wrap it with a do catch and handle it the way you want. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It just, the exclamation point on the try, I don't think we covered that. So this is something new. I don't know if it's, I don't know if that necessarily means the same as force unwrapping and optional. I'm not sure what exactly that is, but we're gonna find out. Okay, what is a model configuration? A model configuration contains settings for your model container, such as where you want data persisted. Okay, so we can give it the path. That's cool. I have to use my onboard drive if you want to disable autosave. Oh, that's right. By default, it's doing some kind of auto save. If you want the data to be temporary, in memory only and not persisted, like you see in this example. Okay. I guess that does about cover it, brother. All right, so whether or not we want it to persist, whether or not we want the default autosave behavior to remain, and if we want to specify a location for the data we persist, we can do that. That's really cool. So that means you could even do you know, like my app to some extent will work with, you know, you'll be transforming a lot of inventory data, so a lot of what if scenarios. So that it's cool that you can kind of iteratively push data sets to separate locations, even though I mean, I know this is for development, but I'm thinking a similar concept might be neat for the end user, because then you can, and I mean, you can always blow it away later, but you know, you can save a lot of your different what if scenarios and then maybe do additional comparisons against each what if. Because it's in effect, it's going to be I mean, the more information you can gain, the better, and that's the whole idea, because it's going to be designed to help purchasers, you know, people that make the decisions of how much to buy and when based off transit demand and all that stuff. So just got my wheels turning a little. Okay, creating mock data. I got to get the zoom right. I think if I put it here, that's good enough. Okay. Now that you have a model container, you can use it to add mock data. So extension friend model. I guess what we're looking at is already written. I'm not sure. But we'll read through this and then I'll check, but I think we already saw this. Now that you have a model container, you can use it to add mock data. So this is what we did. This is the same method via an extension that we covered before, at least so far. So we're extending the class friend model again with this type property model container. So that looks to be our basic pattern here. So we have the try, the config, or sorry, the model itself, the config, and then whether or not we want it to persist. In this case, true for this parameter will mean that it will not persist. It'll just be in memory. And then container.main context. Okay. Oh, dang. Okay, so this, we call the container to get to that tool set. And then I guess main context would be if we had multiple instances open. So that's probably the default. And then the insert command. So we're just writing data directly into memory. First name Jason, last name Barlow. So Jason Barlow, Jenny Wilkinson, Lauren Brady, Lauren Brady, and Matthew Schultz will now be in memory anytime that we use this mock data. Earlier, you learned that the model container modifier adds model context to the environment. Remember, the model context is where you work with data, such as inserting, deleting, and querying. Yeah, it's like a database in memory. At least that's how I like to think about it, because even though there's not tables and whatnot, it's all of these same concepts apply on a in SQL in the same way. So it's kind of interesting how a lot of this stuff is pretty similar, at least the handling of data. But it makes sense. I mean, I guess everything really is just data, just different shapes, different protocols. You need a model context to, okay, you need a model context to insert mock data that your previews can use. You access the model context, which is just a piece of memory, some sub-allocation of your total node's memory or your workstation's memory. You access the model context right from the model container using, okay. You access the model context right from the model container using the main context property. So I guess that's more of a, yeah, main context. Well, I guess that, I mean, that makes sense. If it's the main context, it has some location in memory, so that's directing it. So container is the toolbox of sorts, main context is where, and then insert is the action we're taking, and then friend model is the data model, and these are our actual parameters for the record, and then our values themselves, Matthew, and okay. Then we would just return that. So how you wish to insert your model data is up to you. Do what is easiest for you in your project. The main takeaway is that you need to create a model container to access the model context to add your data. Main takeaway is that you need to create a model container. Okay. The main context property is a model context. Okay. I still don't really, I mean, I get, they told us it's the entry point of the app, and we probably more than likely don't never have to dig into it deeply, but I still don't really understand fully. Like, I couldn't explain it to you. Some of this stuff I could explain to myself, to you, anybody. This is not one of them. So yeah, the whole main actor thing is still a bit up in the air for me. Skip one. Oh, good. Man, this guy's good. If I just stay patient, he always ends up explaining. So, there we go. Okay, so now we'll learn what the main actor is. Or yes, to be technically correct, it's a macro, is what they told us. So the main actor macro, as I'll refer to it. If you're writing this code, you may notice an error with main context. You fix it by adding @main actor to the property. Extension, print. Well, hold on. Okay, hold on one sec, because I want to see. I think all this stuff is already here. I don't know if there's a. Change to non-isolated tort. Maybe not. This is in... Oh, there it was. Static var, try. Yeah, it's all already... I don't know if there's a separate, but I think for now that's okay because we did, I mean, we typed out all of the stuff when we went through the first book. I don't know, we'll see. I just don't want to go digging through files again. But normally we would write all this stuff, not just read it, but it's all here. So I think, yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to dig through files again because at least it's the right project. We can look at what they're talking about. Plus, these are already visual, so I like that, you know, it's a bit more easier to retain because of the visual aspects. So I'm okay with it. But I know what I said, so I'm being a hypocrite, I know, but we should type the code. But, you know, I'm a hypocrite. Fight me, brother. All right, so if you're writing this code, you may notice an error with main context. You fix it by adding @main_actor to the property. Okay. So that's just, yeah, okay, that's literally the only change comparatively to what we just saw. Why is @main_actor on this property? If you see the screenshot of the main context property pop up on the previous page, you will notice it has main_actor declared. Yeah. Yeah. This is an attribute that means it will run this code on the main thread. Oh, on the main thread. Oh, see. Okay, well, I'll just wait. So when this preview property references main context, you have to guarantee it too is on the main thread. Wait, so when this preview property references main context, you have to guarantee it too is on the main thread. Okay, so that's why it's over preview. And that's exactly what it's doing. So by decorating it with main_actor, we ensure that's run on the main thread. Okay. And you do this by adding the main_actor to this property. Okay. All right, makes sense. The preview property in a class extension. Why is the preview property inside the model extension? Why is the preview property inside the model extension? Can it just be its own class? Yes, you could create a separate file. Well, okay, hold on. Why is preview property inside the model extension? Let's look at. Okay, so they wrote separate ones, which is fine. We know we can do that, but where is the preview property inside? Dang. I'm blind. I mean, I gotta find the preview. Oh, yeah. There it is right there. Okay, so this is what they're referring to. So it's in the extension. And what's the question? Can it just be its own class? Oh, so can preview itself just be its own class? Okay. All right. All right. Yes, you could create a separate file, static class, singleton, static function, property, or even do all of this work right in the preview code. Yeah, in the BNR, that's what we did. We just did it all inside the preview code. Singleton, I don't think we covered that either. Using an extension gives you a way to separate out preview code from the rest of your model's code. It is simply a way to organize your code. You can also put that extension code into a separate file and put that file inside of your project's preview content folder. Right. Yeah, this is probably the best way to do it just because they told us the compiler will then, like you, by taking on the responsibility of putting all your mock data in preview content, then you can, at build time, ensure that the compiler will make sure none of this fake mock data makes it into your builds, which I like. I like that delineation there. Especially because in a past life, we would have that issue a lot, deploying new versions every now and again, and those fucking Fox Pro devs, I don't know what the fuck they're doing because their tools were all ancient. Like they didn't use Git, they used SourceSafe, they used this proprietary IDE. It was kind of cool. Like it was more visual than it still looked super confusing, but it was very different looking. But yeah, if you don't know what Visual Fox Pro is, it's like it's a Microsoft language. It's object oriented, and this was before, or not before, but used to have to pay for it. So yeah, but it's been dead. But yeah, this would always happen. We would deploy new versions, or it would happen often enough to piss customers off. And all this bullshit data would come with it sometimes. Get in there with the real data, just cause hell. Okay, note, in the companion project, you will see the preview properties in the same file as the model classes as a convenient way to help you find the code. You'll see the preview properties in the same file as the model classes as a convenient. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. But he's saying normally they would be in separate files and more than likely kept here in the preview content directory. Okay. What is the preview content folder? The preview content folder is where you add your image, assets, and code that help you preview, debug, and test your app while you are developing it. These files are not included when you deploy your app. For more information on the preview content folder, check out the WWDC 20 video titled Structure Your App for SwiftUI Previews. We might pop out and watch that. If there's one thing Apple's good at, it's a presentation, so especially a slideshow. Warning, if you do use the preview content folder, you must wrap your preview with if debug end if. Yeah, they showed us that. To prevent compile errors when archiving your app for release. Yep, that's exactly what it looked like. Okay, let's pop out and check this out. Now, if I oh, that's right. So you won't hear it if I play it here, but I can just go to my history. What is this? Oh, I guess there's a whatever. Okay. Structure your app for SwiftUI previews. Swift. that. Well, you know what? Doesn't matter. I give up. I guess there's a separate app that holds all that stuff, but apparently that one's too old, and I don't blame them. So let's just go. SwiftUI previewing mock data. Right here. Okay, what are we looking at? Previewing mock data. We have a struct mock data under bar intro. Conforms to the protocol view. Then query. So we saw this, and we'll see this in views. So that's making a call into the context, the data in memory. Friends, and it's an array of friend models, multiple friends. Okay, and this we saw already. Okay, yeah. No, you can make it easier to display data by formatting it or preparing it in your model first. You will learn more about this in the next chapter. This is all you have to add. Notice we're not adding any data here. Remember, the preview property is model container configured to store the data temporarily in memory, and a way to add mock data to memory using the model context. Right, I mean, yeah, the data was, we already wrote the data. But I get what he's saying. It's just the vehicle for those very nice dev-friendly things. So is that already here? No. Where's preview? Oh, I'm not in that right file. Okay. There it is. Get rid of that. Okay, mock data intro. Is this the right one? It is. Okay, now that I know what I'm looking at, tell it to me again. What's all we have to add? We'll just add any data here. Okay, so in the preview for mock data, so we're saying make an instance of this thing up here that we defined, which has a query into model context, into our friend model, and this is just saying the body of the rendered stack should just be a list, a horizontal list of our friend's first name and last name formatted as a title, and then in our preview, there's the instance and then the modifier. It's a model container, toolbox, the friend model, and preview. And oh wait, I can do the GD thing. Okay. GD. And so this has we just saw it. Where was it? Preview. Yeah. And so the dot preview calls all this jazz, which has our data. Yeah. So everything's set up here. We just call it. In the mock data. Yeah, this is a little weird because this isn't how you would normally structure it, but I get what they were trying to do, so. Okay, so that's cool. It makes sense to me, I think. Yeah, no, it really does. Sometimes I'm a little thrown by how little is involved. And sometimes I just got to remind myself, like, just let it go. Like, it's not like I'm actually trying to like understand the render engine, or you know what I mean? So sometimes you just gotta not be like that. Preview with mock data. Okay, so this is this the next? Yeah, it is. All right. Here's another struct, mock data in preview. Basically the same thing, but now in the preview we have, oh, they're just showing us another way we could have done the same thing. Okay. Yeah, this is what we did in the first through the Big Nerd Ranch. This is how they showed us, except we didn't cover the stored or is stored in memory only parameter or the config. We just did default arguments. So this is still somewhat new material here. Return mock data in preview with the modifier model container. All right, another option is to create your container and mock data right in your preview. You might want to do this if you know you won't use this model in any other view and you don't need to recreate this mock data for other views. Okay, makes sense. I've given you two options, but there are many other options you can explore, including having a dedicated class that returns different model container configurations with different data combinations, or reading or loading data from a file. The choice is yours. I can't even imagine, like, I mean, it's really neat. I think Swift is very neat in the sense that, well, how can I put this? It definitely went the C++ route, where, like, you know, more or less from a design decision-making perspective, they chose, or the prevailing thought seems to be like more options are better as long as it's clean, you know, versus like Go, which says, you know, things should be simple and more or less, you know, you want one way to do one thing, not multiple ways of doing a single thing. But obviously I'm a little biased. I chose Swift for a very specific reason. But the reason I do like Swift's approach, though, and I think it's the difference maker, really. And I guess you could kind of say this about Rust too. But you know, both, like, Swift came out 2014. I think Rust was the following year. So I mean, both languages. And matter of fact, there's a great Chris Latner, the author of Swift. If you're into podcasts, or just like super technical things, look up Chris Latner on Developer Voices. That's a podcast. Or Chris Latner on Lex Friedman. Those are two different podcasts, but he did two great interviews on both. So either one is a great watch. But yeah, he was more or less talking about that, how they had the benefit of looking at what C++ did and looking at the Python community and how he rolled all that into Swift. And then from my perspective, specifically having, programmed, like I've written a ton of SQL. I love SQL. Did that for like a decade. So it's just kind of burned in my brain. The SQL's great. And then I wrote Go for a little bit. And then, now I'm starting a company wanting to write my own, more or less passion project, Swift was the one. Swift was the one. And this year's, it's already there. So we're getting Swift 6.0 this year, which brings a lot of the concurrency stuff to the forefront. It's already in 5.10, but in 6, it'll just be the defaults now instead of being opt-in. But yeah, as far as I can tell, people had the sense that was the one missing component before it can really be leaned on heavily for like server-side projects, even though people are already doing that too. But yeah, I think it's a good time to come into this. I've been really impressed with it. But yeah, protocols, I think protocols and extensions are probably my favorite thing about this language. I'm giving you two options. Okay, so anyway, there's a whole lot of ways to do stuff using AI. Oh shit. Okay, wait, did I skip mock data to using AI? 78, page 79, 80 using AI. Okay. Okay. Creating realistic mock data can take a lot of time depending on how many properties you have and how many models you have. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Using AI can be a great productivity booster, especially in this area. It's not always perfect, but it can produce results that you can touch up after. In this section, you will learn how to use AI to help you generate mock data for your models. Oh, okay, yeah, cool. Using AI to create mock data. Let me punch in a little. Gotta find the right spot. Don't throw up. Let's just get, okay, that's good enough. Using AI to create mock data. Okay, Bing Chat is a free AI tool offered by Microsoft. So I love Edge as a browser. A lot of great features. But Bing is so fucking annoying. I hate that, like, oddly, I think they did it on purpose. I'm almost certain they did it on purpose. But I'll say the only thing better that Chrome does compared to Edge, in my opinion, because they're both Chromium under the hood, but they are different in some ways. So Chrome, when you sync its settings, like you tell it to sync settings, it's the same everywhere. As soon as you sign into your Gmail or your Google account, it's the same, whether it's on mobile, desktop, whatever. But with Edge, it'll sync most of your settings, but not all the annoying shit that they obviously want you to use, like Bing. But once you turn off all the bullshit, I do think it's just a straight up better browser, just because you get split screen, you get actual groups, you get AI that can bust up your tabs for you and make groups for you, make suggestions. Is very helpful. You get an extra sidebar, you get collections, you get split screen, horizontal and vertical, which is freaking awesome. You get vertical tabs, and all of the Chrome extensions work because it's the same underlying technology. So built-in sign tool, a PDF sign tool, PDF annotator. Come on, it's great. Oh, and they added this airdrop feature. So now anywhere that you have Edge installed on your profile, you can just upload from your mobile directly to your PC, or you can just share, like use it like airdrop, just like I said, if you ever use that. So just proximity based. Edge is with it. Don't sleep on Edge. Okay. Okay, that commercial aside, Bing Chat is a free AI tool offered by Microsoft. It combines AI and search into one tool, which can be very beneficial when it comes to generating mock data. For the prompt, start with something simple such as create some mock data for this Swift data model, and then paste it in your model. Oh, I see. So they're showing you how to, okay. Yeah. Yeah, this was every day for testing. That was one really cool thing about like Go being so simple and close to C. I just fed it to this, I forget what it was called, but there's a ton of them now. You can even do it yourself now, but like Olama, if you download it, you can train it on your own data. So if you wanted like at the time I wanted a little AI assistant that knew a current version of Spark, the ETL big data framework, so I just fed it a lot of information on Spark and Go, and it was a big help. Great. I think for that stuff, GPT and all that it's great for that stuff, but it's just marred by all the bullshit marketing and people talking about it like it's fucking the Terminator. Like, dude, it's predictive text. They just relax. Okay, for the prompt, start with something simple such as create some mock data for this Swift data model and then paste in your model. I usually take the iterative approach by starting with a simple prompt, seeing what results I get back, and then refining the prompt. Yeah, that works, but you should always start a new chat. You really should. AI tools are evolving rapidly. Constantly experiment with other AI tools. Yeah. Goopward. Yeah, I paid for because they were doing a Gemini thing, and I also needed storage. So I don't know if they're still doing it, but if you're either in the throes of looking for a new provider, like for your cloud storage, like Dropbox pissed me off. I was using them forever, and it's a good service, but it's not as good as it's not good enough to pay what they wanted to upcharge me for. So and then never mind, it doesn't matter. But anyway, I switched to G Drive, and they have this special that they're doing for Gemini and for 4 terabytes of storage. So it's $20 a month, and you get unlimited use. So you get the pro version of Gemini and 4 terabytes. So that was a easy call for me. Fucking Dropbox bitch ass. Okay, so now what? Okay, so we want some mock data. I guess we can go try that just to be cool. Be thorough. Friend model. I wish it would. Okay, it did do that. In these extensions, am I adding? Did they give it all the extensions to you? Just the... Oh, okay. Just the core class. So just this here, easy enough. Okay. Oh, I forget I can still do this. So then Gemini. Yeah, I'm glad they changed it. Bard sounded stupid as fuck. I don't know who said let's roll with that. Please generate some data for... Thank you. I downloaded it. Maybe not. Notability? There it is. Okay. That looks like shit. Where is the... Oh, I can just put it in bare. I forgot it doesn't have syntax highlighting. Just want to see it nice and clean, like do it justice. All right, so import. Well, really it'd just be this, not the import. So we just have a constant called mock friends, and it's of type friend model array, and then equal to, and then we just define 3 different friend models, each with a first name, last name, a URL to their picture, and then the image data itself. Oh, I see. So where to go get it, but then an actual like bucket for it. Okay. All right. Oh no, I forgot. I did. Yeah, okay. I did decide. Forgot about this app. It's Tau app. It's my new favorite over Obsidian. Obsidian pissed me off. There's some little fucks over there. I tried to pay them for their service, their sync service, and it was like super garbage, so I got my money back. So I tried their publishing site, and that was terrible too. Changes were taking like a couple hours to sync. Fucking ridiculous off a push. So then I switched to just using iCloud because you can do that, which is nice, but then there's some fucking issue with how iCloud handles, you know, because it'll auto optimize your storage for you. So sometimes your files aren't always downloaded. And to some extent you can control it, but on iOS, it just, you can't. Some stuff you just can't. So there's a situation where people were trying to open up their vault in Obsidian. You have a vault, and there was this please wait while iCloud syncs config files message that a lot of people are getting. And they effectively, they being Obsidian, just decided to blame Apple, effectively. So, you know, whatever. But that's why I got all butthurt, decided to find something else, because if they're not gonna address it legitimately, what else do you do as a user? Just move on, brother. Okay, there we go. But yeah, I like this thing because it has does a lot of cool stuff, including built-in mind map, baby. But yeah, it doesn't look like much, but that's why I like it, because it has all these, you know, hidden little functions, but it's not all in your face with it, you know. It's just kind of there, and you call them as scripts. But yeah, anyway, do what you want to do. Oh, but also, just for people that are concerned about this, because I know it's a big deal now, they offer you can pay one time and you just own it, not a subscription. So, and you'll get all the future upgrade things. So it's a good option if you like Markdown and need developer type stuff against your text files. Good option. All right, so mock data. Okay, so we got some mock data. Save that in case I need it later. Perform the to-do. Another strategy is to put a to-do in the code that you paste into the AI. Yeah. Yep. Can you help me perform the to-do in this code? Yeah. AI searching for example data. You may need mock data that includes data that needs to be looked up on the internet. This can be a time-consuming process to do by hand that AI can do in seconds. For example, say you wanted to include the location in your model. Model, class friend model. Ask AI to add this data for you. What? Although only 3 friends were generated, you can ask it to generate as many as you want for a variety of locations in a country or continent or around the world. Not having to manually research data is a huge time saver. And for a variety of locations. Oh, I guess, okay, the latitude, longitude, I see. Yeah, that would, okay, makes sense. Yeah, between the two, like using Gemini and using GPT, I mean, GPT is, you can tell it's still just, it's still the best at emulating a human conversation, but to what extent that has value to you, I think is more novelty than anything. Because people don't want to, like anybody that says that as a pro is being a little deceptive in the sense that the niceties or the way that it can present a coherent conversation back to you is only valuable for a very short time, because even with the expanded context windows that they have now, it still doesn't really come close to, like, your average user probably isn't coming in, like they're not sitting down and immediately having all the details that would be required for the AI to go reasonably go find the information they're looking for, give it back to them. So there's going to be an exchange back and forth. But with each response, that fills the context window. So whatever characters, like this blob of text that you send up, is part of the context. Like let's say this block is what you send up as your prompt. That's part of the context, and it's taken up more or less what we refer to as, like when you're talking to somebody, most of the time, if you're coherent, sober, you can have a 20-minute conversation with somebody, and everything that y'all are talking about in that immediate context you can easily refer back to, which we don't think about often because our brains can just do that. But we can hang on to the context of the conversation and remember, so as we go further along into the convo, we don't have to constantly redefine something, we just make a reference to it. We do it all the time, like whenever we say, as I was saying, if someone's giving you attitude and you're like disagreeing with somebody, and then their response is, as I said before, and they just say the same thing. But that's kind of what I'm referring to. But you understand. So we can remember things in the immediate sense. AI has gotten better at it, but it's still very, very teeny tiny compared to what you would even expect a 6-year-old to be able to go back and forth with you on. You know what I mean? So all of that extra sauce they put on it to make it seem like it's, quote unquote human when it responds to you is neat and it's novel, but it's not all that valuable, and it just fills up the window even more quickly. So you have to understand, every time that you send something to the AI and it responds, it's cumulative. So everything is adding up to it's filling up that context, that however many tokens they say they can handle, which more or less a token is equal to a character or a couple of characters, text characters. It's not an exact science, but yeah, so every time that you build up the context, it's having to reprocess that whole thing. And you'll hear the term non-deterministic because it's passing all of your conversation through the same algorithms, but you're not guaranteed the same result. So it's not conducive to a long, detailed conversation. And you'll start to see that because I was trying to treat it, I didn't know this at first, but you start to see a lot of the weird behavior and the stuff that they refer to as hallucinating, AI hallucinating. It happens a lot if you just continue in the same chat window. That's why it's always better to just give it a prompt, get the response, reformulate your prompt in a more informative way. So work into your prompt what they just gave you. You'll start a new session, then ask a new, more informative prompt. It's a better way to do it, trust me. You get much better responses. But yeah, on the whole, I think GPT is still definitely better than Gemini, but Gemini has a lot of stuff that I like. And it seems faster, but also they cite their sources for you, which is very valuable. Because hopefully you're still, if you're using AI, you're validating what it's telling you and not just rolling with it. I hope so, because it is wrong a lot. So be careful. All right, so only friend, okay, yeah. So we learned that part, so. Back over, is that 83, 84, okay. AI generating mock images. You may also need images generated for mock data. You can have Bing Chat do this as well. For example, generate a variety of images of a person, front-facing, shoulders up, color, casual. Yeah. The service is free. You can also access it through. This is another thing that I mean, I know why people are mad at Adobe, for example. Like, I agree that they're just a bunch of shitbags. Like, I can't. Oh, here's an Adobe Firefly as another free image generator. Yeah, don't use Adobe. In my opinion, you should not use Adobe. I don't think anybody should. Within reason, if you can possibly just not use it, I think we should just stop using it. Let them go away, let them fail, because man, those are some dirtbags, brother. But like their whole premise, their whole reason for being, they make creative software, and then you're gonna spit in the face of the people that bought your shit for years. Like, I don't know, it's really wild. And for what? What were they gonna do? Now become? They were gonna go replace all creators, sell a service. It's just so retarded to me. I can't even believe it. I can't believe that they did any of that, to be honest. I just think it's just terrible business decisions. It's not even about like, oh, right or wrong or ethics. It's just fucking stupid. Why would you do that? But anyway, ultimately, just remember AI cannot create, it can only regurgitate. So as long as you have the ability to create new content, then AI can never affect you. We're always going to want new shit. I mean, look at not these necessarily, but some of these others, like, I don't know. I don't know what other value you could even get from these other than something like this, where you don't really care what it is. You just want to see some semblance of it because you're testing it or building something. But that's not, that would never replace what artists do, like on client-facing products, end-user-facing products. Just much ado about nothing. Okay, so summary. Here's a summary of the different things you can do to create mock data. Model container for, and then whatever model we define. And we want it to run on the main thread, so we put that over the preview as well, because that's what the mock data is for. And if we don't want it to persist, we can say, well, for this parameter, we pass it in, is stored in memory only, set that to true, implying that's false by default, hence the autosave that we learned about in Swift Data as well. And then model container, friend model.preview, in order to use whatever we define inside that macro. Turn mock data. Yeah. All right. Man, what a great book. Yeah, you know what else I like about this is because I was worried about this before, and I've said it before, but I'll say it again because I'm grateful that I came across this book. Uh, this book specifically calls out, or it welcomes streamers creating content from it, as long as we shout it out. So let me do my due diligence here, and how can I? Oh, let me just show you in the browser. Yeah, so yeah. Shout out to Big Mountain Studio. Great fucking book, brother, on Swift. And we will definitely be back to buy more of your books. I'm a book fiend. No, these are great though. I've yet to come across one as visual as this with the slides and the arrows, and I love that. So yeah, this is right up my alley. So stick around if you like this kind of content, because I will be sticking around their website and buying more of these and then showing them on the stream. So yeah, specifically, there was one I saw, I think I just passed it, animations, yeah. I want to do that one next. And we're wrapping up, guys, so yeah, we're going to continue tomorrow, but yeah, there's one other thing I wanted to show that was related to animations. So for the next kind of portion of this, once we work through this book, I think we'll look at the animations, and then also, this is just me nerding out, but I saw it, where did I put it? Developer. One of these apps, Fabula, I think it's this one. Check this out. It's basically just like a collection of implementations using SwiftUI and ways to do a bunch of different cool shit. So maybe when we get further along, we'll come here and check these out more, but isn't that cool? Rotating card. And then if you want to yoink this for yourself, you can, right? Where's I think there's a, I swear I'm not lying. We're in here. Right click. No? File. Help isn't available. Okay. Oh, duh. Yeah, okay. I knew I wasn't crazy. Yeah, so isn't that sick? Look at that. It's crazy. So any of these behaviors, I'm not sure, is this all of it? Oh, it is, yeah. So this is animation, control, favorites. What the heck? Yeah, anyway, so for any of these, it's just a crazy app, but it's so sick. Look at that. I mean, even that menu. How do I get that menu, right? It's super sick. But any of this stuff, you can mess around with it and see how it would actually work and appear to use in your app, and then you can just yoink the code. Like, now it did cost a lot of money, but well, I mean, okay, so either way, if you want some of this code, this would be a great person to follow, I suppose. This Jazz Udiv. But now I'm wondering if, don't let me lie to you, it might not have cost anything, because no, it's free. Yeah, it's free. Amazing. Supported, let's see. Mac version stopped working. No, it didn't. First new iPad. Yeah, I don't know. Just I don't remember if it was free because sometimes it'll say free, but then you have to pay for stuff inside the app. I don't know. Either way, I mean, like I said, you'll see plenty of it on this stream anyway, but I just wanted to point out some of these freaking amazing tools that are out there for SwiftUI, and this is really part of the reason that I chose it as well, because I mean, you're not getting, I'm not going to say with no other language, obviously there's some, quite a few probably, but you can't expect this kind of tooling, say, in most domains, not even close. Maybe JavaScript, but even that's some fuckery because it's not really standardized. So this is, to me, one big upside of just the Apple ecosystem in general. Look at that. I mean, what? I mean, it's so good. Now let me show you one more. So this one is really cool. And there's also, like, once we start building, we'll just go crazy with a lot of these, but I just wanted to show y'all some of these. There's another one that was really, well, I'll show you this one real quick. Interactful is another cool one. This one's more like, I guess if you're more, less trying to get inspired by ideas and more just looking for a quick, correct answer, like raw information. This one's great too. So this one was definitely not free, I remember, but it might have a free version, not sure, with just like restricted access. But this is all of the elements in SwiftUI. So like everything that we're talking about in terms of the primitives that we'll use are in here. Anything that can be rendered on the screen, and any non-rendering but group style actions like like Z stacks, all the stacks and stuff like that. But yeah, so you can pick the thing, and then you have quick links to the documentation, the official documentation, which is nice. So it's always current information. You can see code examples, and then you have your little stylers, so you can pick something, and then based off of whatever you've chosen now, it can give you the code sample for that, I believe. So let me see if that's true. Yeah, so regular, automatic. Isn't that sick? And then it even tells you what versions of each platform it's compatible with. You copy straight the clip, like, come on. Amazing. Absolutely. Now, there was another one. Last one here. Well, there's more, but I'll wait till next time to show you the other ones because there's a hole in my stomach and I smell food cooking outside. Let's see. I think it was this one, Details Pro, maybe. I always. Oh no! It's Companion, something Companion. Details Pro is cool too, but that's more like a visual builder. I don't know. I wouldn't have got it if I knew what it was at first, but that's all good. Companion. Yeah, a companion for SwiftUI. So this one's kind of like that Interactful app we were just looking at is technically, I think it's designed to be an iPad app, which doesn't matter. I mean, it's still useful, but in terms of the information, the way it's presented, that's why the spacing kind of looked jank on the Mac. But this one is like that, but on steroids, and it's for Mac. But it's still based around, SwiftUI. But it's like this one takes it a step further. It has everything. Protocols, scenes, shapes, views, property wrappers, styles, environment values. And just like, I mean, this is We could probably, I mean, I'm sure we could just build the app straight out of it, just using this as a reference. You know what I mean? I mean, I want to understand the concepts, so that's why we're doing it this way. But freaking incredible, it's crazy. Like literally everything from your views, every single freaking view. Yeah, I mean the other ones are cool because they're a bit more visual, but this might be like the best dev tool I've ever come across. It's freaking awesome. Rivaled only by, I don't know, Jupyter notebooks. Also very useful, but damn, that's good stuff. All right, but we will call it there, folks. We'll go the usual route now and bring this thing to a close. I'd like to thank you for coming out, hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow, earlier for sure, earlier than today. And also check out my other stream if you're into Halo or any other type of games, because yeah, that'll be going on every evening as well. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Go have some dinner.